In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys the 5 most worn fragrances from this year. And if you've been following me for a while, you're well aware that I've picked up a lot of fragrances in the past 12 months. Now these 5, I didn't write down on any notepad or anything like that, how many times I wore them exactly, but these are just ones that I remember wearing the most. And seeing as we're halfway through the year, I figured now would be a good time to kind of put this out here. But on that note, let's get into it. And now before we go any further, I want you to go ahead and comment down below your 5 fragrances that you've worn the most this year. Because I mean, honestly, chances are that we've probably worn some of the same fragrances. Now, number 5 on this list goes to a pretty recent release. It's one that is an Eau Fraiche. It's one of the fresher takes from the line. I don't like the other ones that are in this line, but this one I have found to really enjoy. Not only in the opening with the dry down, the projection, the longevity. I've yet really to find much about this fragrance that I do not like. Number 5 is going to go to YSL Eau Fraiche. As you can see here, guys, it's pretty much like the Mr. Freeze of the Y line. It's not the EDP, it's not the EDT, it's just Eau Fraiche. In the top, you have lemon, pepper, and ginger, and it doesn't really give me a super fresh vibe in the opening, but the dry down is where I get that fresh, semi-aquatic kind of scent. The mint, the juniper berries, and the lavender in the mid are really kind of shine for me with this one. The mid notes on this fragrance are really pulling me back to wearing each time, because I mean the opening is just so much drastically different than the dry down is, and this is one of the most developing designer fragrances that I have. Like, it's pretty rare to have a designer fragrance that really develops like this does, and this is just one that's really grown on me and that I've grown to enjoy to wear, enough to make it one of my most worn from this year. Again, guys, that is YSL Eau Fraiche. And number 4 on this list is a fragrance that I wore pretty heavily in the colder weather. I haven't really worn it much in the warmer weather, but I want to. It's one that every time that I've worn it, I've received a bunch of compliments. It's one that is loud, projects, it lasts. It also happens to be one of my most complimented fragrances that I have in my collection. Now, I know that might not be important to a lot of you, but this is one that does it. You have your sweet, your honey tobacco fragrance. It's one that people would love to clone and try to make exact replicas of, but I have yet to find one that's really spot on. It also happens to be my dad's favorite fragrance that I have in my entire collection. Speaking of that, if you're looking for fragrances for Father's Day and want to get some affordable niche fragrances, check out the link in the description at Vibra Fragrances. They do have some pretty good deals there. But number 4 is Cedrat NAXOS. Now you'll see here why it's one of my dad's favorites. Not only is it the bottle is awesome, but also is the juice inside. I think he really what pushes him towards it is the attention to detail on this bottle. It's definitely one of the best in my entire collection. And like I said on my channel before, I've worn this out to bars, it's broken through smoke, I've worn this out to work, got tons of compliments. I mean, it's just, put one in my hand real quick. It smells elegant, it smells like high class, and it is high class. It's not a cheap fragrance. It's not one that you're just gonna go find at TJ Maxx somewhere. It's not one that you're gonna find at a rack store. This, in my opinion, is one of the best value, niche fragrances. Even though it does cost a bit, this is one of the ones that I feel like really deserves that price tag. Because not only with the scent, you get the presentation, you get the performance, you get the awesome performance, you get the awesome fragrance, you get the awesome presentation. This is what I hold my niche fragrances to a standard, and this is like an A+ for me. And again, guys, that is Cedrat NAXOS. And next, what we do have here is going to be a fragrance that I did get from a rack store. I just picked up a few of these. I got this one and a few backup bottles. It has its citruses, it has its almond, it has just its great aspects to it that make it a very enjoyable summer fragrance. And winter as well, because there's certain facets to it that make it a bit more than a summer freshie. It does happen to be discontinued, but if you can find it, pick it up while you can before the prices kind of skyrocket. And this happens to be one where the juice level is kind of an indication of the amount of times that I've worn it. And number 3 is L'Homme Idéal Cologne by GUERLAIN. Yeah, so you'll see here that this one is halfway full. You'll get that presentation on this. It's pretty nice. It's your GUERLAIN fragrance. But yeah, this is one that I've been wearing super heavy. It's one that I can throw in my gym bag, throw on while I'm at work. Extremely inoffensive. It's not the best compliment getting kind of fragrance, but it is very enjoyable. It's by no means a beast mode of a fragrance, but you get 5 to 6 hours out of this, off my skin at least. And like just off the opening, it's definitely one of the best citrus fragrances that I have in my collection. It has a specialness to me, I guess, because like I've said in the past, this is one As well with the YSL Fresh, this is one that also really grew on me. Like, I trashed this one to begin with because I kind of fell for the hype, and when I got it, I wasn't really, blown away initially by the opening of it, I guess, or the day of I got it, and I was like, what is this? And after quite a bit of wearing, I really grew on me, and I really grew to enjoy it, and it happened to make my number 3 on my most worn for this year. So again, guys, that is L'Homme Ideal Cologne by GUERLAIN. Now, number 2 on this list is one that I've worn heavily. I spray it heavily, I wear it heavily. It smells good, it projects, it lasts. It's intense, it's O Intense. It is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue O Intense. Now, y'all, if there's one summer fragrance that I recommend that you guys at least try at some point, it is this one. This is one that will really impress people that are around you. Even if they are familiar with the Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue DNA, this is one that will impress them, I promise you. And it's pretty cheap. I think this was under 30 bucks when I got it. It's one that you can spray heavy. It's one that you can really enjoy when you wear it. It's for me, it's a happy fragrance. It's one that when I spray it, it makes me happier. It's also a fragrance that you can wear in the wintertime. It's not just a summertime kind of fragrance because it is that loud. It does project. It's like a great summer fragrance, but it also is going to be a great winter fragrance if you're wearing an aquatic that will break through some cold weather. In the opening, you get your citruses, your grapefruit, your frozen grapefruit to be exact, and then in the dry down is when you start to get more of an aquatic kind of accord. That aquatic accord is a bit sharp, a bit piercing, and it is evident in the opening at least as well. But it's not a bad sharp kind of fragrance. It's definitely one that I would prefer wearing outside, just because this is a sneeze-inducing fragrance. I've come to find out. And again, guys, that is Dolce & Gabbana O Intense. Now, there's a lot of you on here that are going to know what my number 1 is. You're going to know just off of watch my channel what it is. If you have not watched my channel before, please consider hitting subscribe. I do try to provide entertaining content and just stuff daily for you guys. One of the top notes in my number 1 fragrance is pineapple. You know what it is? It is none other than Creed Aventus. This is one that, like you guys can see, I've worn half of the bottle so far. But that does not account for on my birthday when I was live streaming. I do that, guys, if you haven't don't know that. I sprayed 27 sprays of this on myself. Even since then, that was right when I first got it. So I mean, it wasn't like it was a lot, But since then, I've worn half this bottle, and just if you know anything about Creed Aventus or Creed sprayers, you know that this one sprays heavy. It is like a water hose. When you fully press down all the way, it just, and I'm heavy on the trigger, and now I'm halfway done with this. But luckily, I have this, I have the Aventus Cologne, and I have the Aventus, like an older one that I found at TJ Maxx actually. But guys, I'm looking forward to hear what your 5 are. I'm looking forward to your comments down below, so we can kind of chat about it to see if we're wearing some of the same things. Guys, like I always say, keep it gent, love your scent, and I'll see you all next time.